Hello everyone, welcome back again. This is Aluminum Tarot. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. I've been experimenting a little bit with a new spread, so we're going to do something a bit different today, and rather than focusing on love or focusing on general information, we're going to do something called the Black Mirror spread. And what this entails is learning about narcissistic abuse. This is one of the concepts I wanted to explore with this channel, so I think for me it would be a good chance to give this a good go around to try to see if this spread is effective, and hopefully it resonates with the people who are watching it. So we're going to do this for the sign of Capricorn, and then we'll move on to Taurus and Virgo later on. But for this one, the Black Mirror to me represents looking into all of the things that we know about our shadow self, things that we are not quite familiar with and that we need to get acquainted with through the tarot, through different other methods and techniques that we can use to explore the darker nature of our lives. Now with narcissists, typically I look at them as a kind of a black mirror. These people highlight things in ourselves that we need. They're kind of like twin flames, but in a sense, there are things that we need to see, that we need to focus on in order to become better, stronger people. They kind of, in essence, free us from the toxic devil energy that we have, grown accustomed to in our own particular lives. And there's so much talk about narcissism across the internet and across different people's experiences, yet people need to understand why these people come into our lives in the first place. That is what this spread hopes to achieve. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I do appreciate your time and energy. Also, if you'd like to follow us, please give me a like, share, and subscribe if these readings resonate with you. And hopefully they give you something, that you can take from this and allow you to get some kind of clarity and insight on your own life. Now, also, if you like a personal reading, feel free to reach out to me at the description box below. I'd be more than happy to help you tailor, these readings to a specific energy, specifically your energy, as I'm reading for many people across the internet. And they will have just general energies involved in that. So please take what resonates, leave the rest for whoever needs it. Also, if you see any scammers around the internet, please block or get rid of them, shun them, ban them, report and block them, so that way that, people can avoid dealing with these dodgy types, and that, the tarot community can continue to thrive. People can use this as a business model rather than simply just allowing people to walk all over them and take their hard-earned money and their clients through duplicity. That said, we're going to go ahead and get into the spread. We're reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. We're reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, the Black Mirror spread. So we're going to peer into your most significant narcissistic relationship. We're going to find out the lessons that you needed to learn from that specific relationship, and then any other advice that we can take from it. Just going to move this. So let us begin. Spirit, what do we need to learn about Capricorn's significant narcissistic relationship? What do we need to learn about Capricorn's most significant narcissistic relationship, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant? What do we need to learn about Capricorn's most significant narcissistic relationship, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant for Capricorn? What do we need to know about Capricorn's most significant narcissistic relationship? What do we need to know about Capricorn's most recent or most significant narcissistic relationship? Stop there. Okay, so this is a rather large spread. We're going to go ahead and just get right into it. So we go to the lesson that this taught you. We're going to go into how it began, how the relationship began. How did the relationship progress? And how did it end? And there we have it, the Narcissist card, King of Swords reverse. Moving on. So next, what was the initial attraction? That says it all. So initial attraction, that actually came up upright. So that was the Ace of Wands for you. The Narcissist aim and intention. These jumpers are a bit out of control, so I'll try to control them as best as I can. Next we have the codependency on your side, the Capricorn side. Codependency on the Capricorn side. Codependency on the Narcissist side. Next, we have the coping tactics of the Capricorn. The abuse tactics of the Narcissist. Here's how you pulled away from the relationship as the Capricorn. Here's how the Narcissist began to try to control or to hoover you into staying into the relationship. It's a lot. A lot. See how best to read that. Next, we have protection. This is how you try to protect yourself from any further abuse. And this is how the Narcissist discarded you. Finally, we come to a close with closing out the cycle. How to close out the cycle. Advice. Closing out the cycle. There you go. Okay, so we're going to look into this. Now, what we see here initially with your specific reading, what we find here is that the lesson that you needed to learn into this entire situation was learning how to nurture yourself, both in the physical and also in your particular value system that you find specifically important to yourself. Now we start here with the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles talks about someone that nurtures themselves, someone that is grounded, someone who is stable, someone who allows themselves self-time in order to grow the things that they find most valuable to themselves, whether that's projects, whether that's their value systems and core beliefs, whether that is actually nurturing a business, any of those things. It's learning how to be self-sufficient, similar to the Nine of Pentacles, but in a more regal status. So this is a bit of an elevated status, no longer just saying, oh, I'm free, but now it's free with a purpose. That is what the Queen does. She rules a kingdom. Therefore, if you are the Queen of Pentacles, you are ruling the kingdom of stability with the King of Pentacles. That is your receptive, motherly, nurturing energy. And that is something that you had to get yourself into in order to learn something from this specific relationship. Now we talk about how the relationship began for you. It started off with the Chariot reversed, which means that specifically for you at the time in which you two met, you and the specific narcissist involved. You were at a period in your life where you were feeling a bit stuck, that things were not really moving forward. Perhaps this could have related to a number of reasons. Take which ones resonate for you. But specifically, you felt that it was very difficult for you to control the things in your life. And this person kind of stepped in and offered you something that allowed you to feel a bit more stable and grounded and actually to progress forward. So whether this was in a work situation where you had a colleague that you met that you felt would allow you to advance in your career, or if this was a particular person that helped take you away from a situation where you felt stuck, perhaps not being able to get over an ex, perhaps feeling lonely, any of those types of things, that is precisely how this relationship started. It then progressed into a relationship where you felt very sentimental about things. The person tried to woo you with a lot of forget-me-nots. They did their best to communicate to you in the beginning stages that they loved you, that they would never leave you. And the thing was, you began to see that this person would eventually change. They were focused on things about the past rather than focusing on things that needed to develop into the future. And that is when you started to notice the change within this person. So say, for example, you are with this particular narcissistic person. This is a person that would allude more to the past. Remember when we did these things? Remember when we were in this place? Oh, those were such great times, right? You know, I wish we could go back to those times instead of focusing on the future. Okay, yes, we need to buy a house. We need to go ahead and have children. We need family. We need these things. See, one of the things that one of my mentors has taught me is that the Six of Cups is a card of people who are older pretending that they're young again. And you can see it in this particular card right here. They're not necessarily like children per se. They're more like older adults. And they're pretending to be children. So it was almost like the person would refuse to look at the future. And what they would do instead is just focus on the past and the sentiments that were related to it. Now, as this began to wear off on you and you began to become a bit weary of this, now the relationship then progressed into the discard phase, and you have the King of Swords, which is one of the biggest narcissist cards that you can find in the deck. This is a person who was basically there. They began to become a bit more logical, unreasonable. They began to demand more things. They began to abuse their power. You began to see a side of them that went from this sentimental things, which was the way they controlled your mind, the way they were able to keep you in the relationship. They then moved into a period where they forgot to value, or they refused to value those things from the past. Typically, the King of Swords is someone who looks at the present, the here and now. They're also very future orientated as well. But in this particular case, you know, they went from focusing on the thing that they thought that would keep you there, which was the sentimental value from the past. Then they began to just cut you out, discard you, call you names, use their words to abuse and bully you, rather than see things clearly. And these were very, very cutting words. So I would see here as a kind of verbal abuse, I would say, or divisive scheming tactics to kind of keep you there. So if this person then began to use guilt tripping, they'd move from that water energy to this cold, dead air. They would just become completely unemotional. And they knew how to turn the tap off. So it's almost like a person who's, you know, opening a tap and then closing the tap whenever they needed to get away from the emotional side of the relationship that they used to manipulate you. So we start with the initial attraction here. We see that in you, the initial attraction was the Ace of Wands. You found this person to be charming, very sexual. This probably started off quickly as a fling or a sex-based relationship. And then it progressed into something more, which you thought would lead to something a bit more valuable to you. And particularly, you found this person, again, very sexually attractive. You found this person to be exciting as well. And you believe that in your life that this person would offer a new start from this Chariot energy, from getting you from being stuck to being unstuck and on a new path. Now, this person, the way that they presented themselves and their aims and intention initially, this was the Page of Pentacles. Now, this is a very young energy, very immature, but they wanted to kind of present their friendship to you, and then tried to build a few things with you, grow with you a little bit, the same way that the Page of Pentacles learns a new craft or skill. And they did seem like they wanted to develop something initially in the beginning of the relationship, but it was a very naive energy as well. So the two of you went on this new path. You wanted a new passionate beginning. This person wanted a new practical beginning. And this person can be male or female, despite it being the Page of the Page of Pentacles. And so that was your start. That was the aim and the intention of the narcissist, basically, was to keep you as your friend, but also to grow a little bit with you. And for you, you wanted a new start. You wanted the sexual attraction, the fire, the passion. Now, moving on. This is the area that we need to focus on, because this is one of the biggest ones. Codependency. We move these two cards here. The first card of codependency is on your end. We see here the Lovers reversed. For you, throughout life, what you have felt is that it has been very difficult to find a relationship that was on your level, or that really offered you the feelings of intensity that you were looking for. You've always felt like you cannot connect with a lot of the people that you were in relationships with in the past. And that was one of the biggest turn-offs for you throughout this time. And you felt that you had found something with this person that other people did not offer you. And the relationship was very intense at the beginning. But the problem is that sustaining that intensity in the relationship is one of the biggest problems that you face dealing with the Lovers reverse, as that disconnect, or the inability to decide when to attach yourself to someone or to detach yourself from someone. Because the Lovers is also the choice. And if you don't choose, then it becomes more difficult to actually sustain the relationship. On their side, they have the Star reversed. This person comes with a lot of baggage. This person comes with a lot of inability. They don't have the ability to heal things from the past. They are misguided as well. They're unable to balance between the practical sides of life and the emotional sides of life. And this is due to a trauma in the past, because before the Star comes the Tower. So there was a Tower moment in their specific life that has left them stuck in this inability to heal. Normally in the Star, you have them upright. This person is able to be vulnerable. They're guided by the heavens, through the North Star. They have one foot in the water, one foot on terra firma. And then they move towards the mountains in the back, which is overcoming difficulties and obstacles. But in the reverse, what we have with the Star is basically a person who is unable to see the guidance from the universe, from the heavens. They're unable to keep themselves on terra firma and in the waters, so they have a lack of balance between that. This is also due to the inability to heal from that Tower moment in the past. So there's a lot of trauma that they have faced, whether that was through family or through a previous relationship, that has kept them stuck in their particular lives in this mentality. They are unable to move on into a healthier attachment style due to the fact that they have been unable to move beyond the frozenness of the trauma that they have experienced in the past. So, moving right along. As the relationship progressed, the two of you developed coping techniques for dealing with a relationship. And this is something that's important, because this is the way that you break the cycle. So firstly, we look at your side as the Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. We see that in your side, when problems arose, you typically reverted to trying to drop the drama, trying to stop the fights from happening, rather than trying to see what was wrong and then release it, or making that choice to say, no, this isn't what I want. I need to let this relationship go. Your default was to move into a situation where you would give up the fight so that you could keep the peace in the relationship. So the lesson here was the Queen of Pentacles was to become stable, was to become grounded. But it wasn't grounded because this air energy right here prevented you from actually finding a true foundation in your life. This in turn led the narcissistic person that you dealt with to manipulate you through your emotions. And then that would in turn just allow you to just say, okay, let's drop it. I'm too tired to argue. Let's just forget about it. We're gonna just move on and try to have a healthy, happy relationship. And on their side, the abuse that they have was the manipulation through acts of love. Now, we can read this two different ways. With this Ace of Cups, this cup is full of self-replenishing waters, and this is offered to you. So what this person would do, they would offer you love only to retract it later on. This was used in a negative way by draining your energy, draining your love force, and then additionally filling their own cup with your energy. So there was almost like a sense of vampirism. And you see also in the star, the water bearer, this is the sign of Aquarius. So if this is an Aquarius that you were dealing with, or you have Aquarius in your chart, this is something that you should pay attention to. Rather than healing themselves, what they would do is they would take your energy, steal your life force, and fill their own cup with it. And they would offer this reconciliation with this dove that's at the top of the Ace of Cups, as you see here. And they would offer this peace offering to you. Say, hey, okay, well, we'll make it. Let's not fight about this right now, when in fact they are starting the fights, and the reason why they're doing that is to steal your energy so that they can fill this empty void from this inability to heal things from the past. Now, despite whether you are in this relationship now or you have already detached yourself from it and you're trying to heal, these two cards are going to be very important, because these are the ways that you can actually, again, break that cycle. Learning when to make the decision to let something go, when to move forward, and also not reconciling a relationship by just laying down your swords. You have to know when to pick your fights, pick your battles. You have to know when to detach from something where you know something is off, and when you need to release a relationship. So, moving on, we have the next part of this, which is how the two of you pulled away. So, typically in narcissistic relationships, when the person who is being abused pulls away from the relationship, the narcissist will then use tactics to try to keep them within it so that they can continue to feed themselves from your energies. They're basically psychic vampires, and that's how you fight these psychic vampires, is by removing your energy from them. Also learning how to use different techniques like grey rocking and other things, which we'll get into a bit later on. But with this, you have the Hermit reversed. That was how you pulled away from the relationship. Rather than feeling isolated, dealing with this person here as they use their manipulative tactics to pull in your emotions, what they would do, or what you would choose to do rather, is you would try to get out and you would try to spend more time outside of the relationship. You would go meet friends, you would go out and party a little bit, have a few drinks with new people, spend time with colleagues, go explore your hobbies, anything that you could do to get away from the isolation that you felt within the relationship. This gave you a bit of temporary respite from what you experienced. It wasn't necessarily sustaining, because you still had to come back to this relationship during the course of the time in which you were trying to detach yourself from it. However, on their side, the tactics they used to manipulate you to staying in the relationship was one of two things. Either A, they cheated on you and they decided to go out and party and do their own thing, or they would find third parties to put you in while still using this tactic against you. Oh, well, let's just continue to work it out. I would never do that to you. They'd play on those emotions, things from the past, things like that. But here we also have the Fool, which came out for their hoovering tactic. They would try to put on an air that they weren't as reckless as what they really were. And they would try to say, well, I'm going to play it safe. I would never do those things to you. I would never be that foolish to you. So they gave you the impression that they were cleaning up their act, that they were less reckless, that they weren't coming home smelling like perfume or cologne or things like that, or doing things behind your back. They were trying to present themselves as being stable when in fact it was a lie. Because what they were really doing, this clarified the Fool reverse. They're actually going out partying, sleeping around, probably overindulging in certain substances with other people, being around a group of people who were not necessarily the best, while still trying to present to you that they were changing and that they were not making impulsive decisions like they had made in the past. And you, of course, you would know your own story, if this resonates, of course, with you, as to how they were impulsive. So, moving into the last part, you have the Queen of Swords as your form of protection that you offered yourself through the course of the relationship. And what this entails is that when you pulled away from this person and they tried to use this tactic of hoovering, saying, oh, I've changed, I'm not out partying, I'm not drinking, I'm not going out sleeping around with other people, you would get furious. You would become cutting, cold, really upset, angry, and you would use your words to push this person back. This in turn fed into kind of the energies within here, because this is the reaction that they wanted of you. So while you were presenting yourself as the Queen of Swords reverse, this person then later moved into the discard. And on their side, what they would do is just cut you out. They went back to that King of Swords energy right here, which is being cold, detached, abusive, using cutting words, manipulation tactics. And then when they finally couldn't do that to you, they just blocked you out. They'd ghost. They wouldn't say anything to you. You wouldn't hear from them from days. It was just silence. There was a part of you that wondered how a person who would try to manipulate your emotions for so long by trying to focus on what the two of you had done together for the past with the Six of Cups could then move into this negative swords energy and become so cold and so distant. And I think that's what hurt you the most about this relationship, is that you thought you had met someone that could fill your cup, but again, they were actually stealing from it, because that was their abuse tactic, filling their own cup with your energy. So in order to close this cycle out, we come to the Hierophant here. Now the Hierophant is a card that speaks of a person with power and authority, the bridge between heaven and earth, which was the Pope. This is the complement also to the High Priestess, and a person who holds the keys to the universe, who gives those to the disciples that follow his path. You need to, in yourself, understand what your value systems are, what is going to allow you to get to this Queen of Pentacles lesson. And that is by being steadfast and steady in your own belief systems. This will prevent you from falling prey to other people's belief systems, where they can use that against you. It is so easy for someone to focus on the past and all the great things that happened back then. But without a future, without taking that past and making a great future of it, you can't in any way, shape, and form have a relationship. The Hierophant is also someone who takes the lessons of the past and teaches it to people so that they can build their own future. It's carrying that tradition, that line. Rather than just focusing on the sentiments of the past, you need something that's a bit more pragmatic. You're moving from minor arcana to major arcana with the past, learning the lessons. The Hierophant is also the teacher. You need to now take the lessons that you learned from this specific narcissistic relationship, incorporate that into your life, and then use that to teach yourself and, to an extent, the world about what you have learned. These life lessons need to be the most important focus, and that will in turn give you the foundation to get into this Queen of Pentacles energy, where you can then nurture the solid foundation that you're building from the lessons of the past. What I want to bring your attention back to is the Lovers reversed. This is your codependency energy. In order to avoid falling prey to another narcissist or another negative person, you need to reunite the core aspects of yourself, the male and female energies, that will make you in turn become a whole person. In order for this to work, you have to decide if your head and heart are united when you are with a person, if your values, your morals are being compromised by a person. Are you using your intuition to understand what a person is doing in order to manipulate you? Because these things do take time, and that's the reason why people get trapped into these kind of narcissistic relationships. But it's important for you to see it to be fully united in mind, body, and spirit, to be able to suss out some of these people that you tend to attract. Again, also pay attention to what attracted you to him initially. That was the Ace of Wands, that new start. Now that you are the Queen of Pentacles, you are learning this lesson to become more nurturing of the foundation that you want to build for yourself. You, in turn, have the ability to create your own new start. You don't need someone else to do that. Allow yourself to share the foundation to build a house with someone new. Don't allow someone to take that away from you. So I think that's pretty much it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed this reading. This is, again, the Black Mirror spread, exploring some of the concepts behind narcissistic abuse and narcissistic relationships. If this story resonated with you, please give a like, share, and subscribe. Ding the notification bell so you don't miss any of the updates in the future. And also, if you'd like a personal reading, please reach out to me at the description box below on the website. And I hope I can help you with any other insights you have that will be tailored more to your energy, as this is a general reading. Once again, this is Aluminum Tarot. I really deeply appreciate your time and energy, and all the best, and good luck on your voyage. Until next time, bye now.